161.
Good thing is
We're talking about which kind of water can be used for the washing of your hands for bread. And when I mentioned last week, I gave an introduction to this of how the details in Jewish law are important. Details of halakha are important. It may sound like you're splitting hairs, but it's meant to totally change the way we function and the way we think, so that we're thinking and functioning the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to, and that we realize that little things matter. They really do. My friends, we already did this. Because if you remember, we had a conversation about whether the Rambam mentions a few things that make the water change their color. Mm-hmm. Is anything else that changes the color prohibited or not? So they no, the Rambam only mentioned 4 cases. When we went inside to look at the Rambam, he was pretty clear that these are just examples, that anything that changes the water is going to make it invalid. Page 164, the last line in the middle of the page. Gimel, you see where it says Gimel? Mayim shnishtanah marehem. Water that its color changed, its appearance changed. V'lachar miken chazru lemare mayim. And afterwards they go back to looking like regular water. Ksherim l'ntilat yadayim. They are kosher for ntilat yadayim, for washing your hands.
Disappearing.
Yeah, imagine like disappearing ink. Imagine an example. I'm not talking here about ocean water. I'll give an example of water that changes. Sometimes you go to La Jolla on certain weeks out of the year, and there's this blue neon algae that lights up at night. And if you've ever seen this, it's an unbelievable thing. It's like plankton. I don't know. It crashes on the waves, and the water lights up.
Bioluminescence.
Yeah. And then after a few weeks, it disappears. So let's imagine that you would consider this water whose appearance has changed. In 2 weeks from now, though, the water is going to go back to being regular water. Assuming that that would have been a problem in the first place, and assuming that ocean water is okay, I'm assuming a lot of things. This is something that says the water was not kosher, it wasn't able to be used, but now it is. Things change. It could also be water that is, for example, been filtered out. Oh, you can come up with a number of ways.
That's something that purifies the water. When you go camping, there's a chemical you use, that natural chemical. If you take water from a stream or a lake, as you need water, you can pour something in, and if it's murky color, it becomes clear.
Interesting. Okay. 165. מים שנשתנה מעליהם מחמת עפר או טיט או חרס שנפלו לתוכם. Water whose appearance has changed because of dirt or mud or clay that has fallen into it. ולאחר זמן מועט חוזרים למראה מים מחמת שעפר והטיט שוקעים בתוכם. But after a while the water clears up because everything kind of floats down to the bottom of the water. This is very common. It's not something uncommon. והם ראויים לשתיית בהמה, and it's water that's clean enough for an animal to drink from. It's not that it's putrid water that has dirt in it. It's water that you picked up by the river bank and there was clay in the water, and now it's settled to the bottom, and the water's clear, and an animal would drink from this. מותר ליטול בהם אפילו קודם שיחזרו למהר הראשון. You're allowed to wash your hands with this water, even before the water settles.
That means you have to know it's good.
Right, you have to know. I mean, let's say you know. You live in a village by the river, you know that this water is always cloudy, you give it 10 minutes, it'll settle down. So you don't have to wait till it settles down. As long as you know there's the kind of water that will settle down, you can wash your hands with it. וכן מקומות שהמים היוצאים מן הברז הם לבנים בשעת יציאתם. This is something you notice like when you go to New York. In New York, when you open the faucet, the water comes out white. It doesn't come out clear in many places.
I've seen that sometimes.
Now, I don't know if it's water bubbles, I don't know if it's chlorine, I don't know what they're putting, I don't know what the deal is with the water. Don't ask me, I'm not But after a while, the water clears up. It turns regular, clear water. And after a while, they go back to regular water appearance. So it's the same halakha. You can wash with them even before they return to their regular appearance. $166. You know that famous halachot, what happens if something not kosher falls into your chicken soup? So how much kosher chicken liquid do you need from the not kosher liquid?
Yeah.
1/60th, right? 1/60th of... As long as you have 1/60th of not kosher soup and the rest is kosher, it's okay. What happens if pasul water, not kosher water, and kosher water get mixed together and you need to wash your hands? Mayim shenifselu l'ntilat yadayim. If there's water that have become unfit for washing your hands, because of their appearance, now you mix them in with your water bottle, for whatever reason. And now they look like regular water, meaning you kind of diluted the colored water with the regular water, and now it looks like normal water. You can wash your hands with this. As long as the majority, which is 51%, is from the clean water, not from the dirty water.
Can you recycle water that's already been used?
We're going to talk about that. That's the next halakha.
Interesting.
So, why is appearance the main criterion?
No, it's not the main. It's the first. It's one of the first criteria. There are a bunch of other things that are going to invalidate water also.
Because appearance appears to be very...
Let's wait for it.
Yeah,
subjective?
Not so exact.
Superficial.
Yeah.
Okay. Mayim shamdu megulim. Water that has been left uncovered. Do you remember this halakha from a few years ago? About drinking water that has been left uncovered overnight? There's a halakha that says that if water has been left uncovered overnight, you can't drink it the next day. Because maybe a snake came and put its venom inside of the water, and it's dangerous. It's considered a dangerous thing. Maran writes that nowadays where you live in places where there are no snakes floating around your house, it's okay if you drink water that's uncovered. The Kabbalists, they blew their top of this. I know what you mean. It's not just snake, it's spiritual things in the air at night, They put all kinds of spiritual energies in the water. Suffice to say, if you're a Kabbalist, you wouldn't drink water that's left over overnight. If you're a halachist, that posek, you would. I do love that. Mayim shayu b'toch kli meguleh, water that stood in an uncovered washing cup. B'makom she'en mitzuyim sham nechashim, in a place where there are no snakes. Mutar l'tol behem af lechatchila. You're able, even on an ideal level, to wash your hands with this water. B'makom she'mitzuyim sham nechashim, but if there's a place where there actually are snakes, let's say you're camping out in a snake desert, yesh lachmir shlo l'tol mehem. You should be strict and not wash with the water there. Why you be sleeping in a place where there are snakes? I don't get it either. A lot of people like that. They're like camping, all kinds of. But there, it could be have a problem leaving water uncovered. Bathrooms, according to halakha, are one of the most impure places we have. They smell. What else they have? They contain human feces in it. Why? When the Chachamim are talking about a bathroom, they're not talking about a bathroom like you have. They're talking about like a porta potty. Whatever is there is still sitting there. It's a disgusting place. You can't pray there. You can't eat there. You can't drink there. You can't make blessings there. If you bring something in there, you're not supposed to eat it afterwards. There are a lot of halachot about these things. Chachamim already talk about a special kind of bathroom that the Parsim had, the Persians had. Not Jewish Persians, regular Persians. What were they? They were built on a slant. So you'd be sitting over here. There'd be a little tunnel that would go this way. And so everything that people would make would go out of the bathroom, down into a ditch that was in a slant. So it still smells, it's still not so great, but it's cleaner than the alternative. Chachamim already started being lenient about bathrooms that look like that. So many of our poskim, many of our rabbis say today's bathroom is a whole different story. I mean, listen, you have to be honest, not everyone keeps their bathrooms clean, but if a person keeps their bathroom clean and they flush the toilet, whatever was there is not there anymore. And therefore, it's not a bathroom, it's a closet, it's a wash closet, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's the English term for it, water closet.
A water closet, that makes sense.
As long as it's not a 7.
So the question is, does it have the same status in halacha as there's a famous Ashkenazi rabbi, I love him, listen to him. It's a big rabbi on the East Coast. I won't mention his name because I once did and made people get very upset. That he used to make brachot inside of the bathroom. I mean, he would wash his hands and then say the blessing after the bathroom in the bathroom. That's how clean he believed the bathrooms were. I could show him a few bathrooms. But that's what he believed, and I know it sounds funny, like why bathrooms? Again, the question here really is, has halakha been updated to what the situation we're living in right now? You're gonna hear what he's gonna say. Ma'im shiu b'toch kli, water that were in a vessel. They were brought into the bathroom. Even if it was closed, let's say a water bottle. Let's say it was closed. It's preferable, if you can, not to wash your hands with the water inside of your water bottle that you brought into the bathroom. And it's preferable, if you can, not to drink this water. And once you bring your water bottle to the bathroom, it's open. And in a pressing situation, let's say you don't have other water to wash your hands with, you can be lenient to wash your hands with this water. And you can still make a blessing on this water, because it's only an ideal level, a preferable thing. If you can, not use the water. But if you can't, then use the water.
Is it different if you bring it in a bag and it's wrapped?
How much more so if it's water that's in the kind of bathrooms that we have today. And the same thing he writes in parentheses, that if you're thirsty and you need to drink this water, that you can drink this water, especially in bathrooms like ours today. We at this community rely on this all the time. We wash our hands in the bathroom. We make a blessing outside. But technically that water is not allowed to be used for Netilat Yadayim.
Even though it comes off a sink.
Yeah, it's in a bathroom.
Just the place where it is.
If you go to many organized synagogues, they have sinks outside of the bathrooms.
Right.
And that's on purpose. For our intents and purposes, we're doing two things. One, we're saying we don't have another water source that's viable for us. Yes, you can do other things, but it's not we have to walk down their building or use our drinking water outside, which we've done at times. And the second thing is we're saying that this bathroom is clean enough. There are times where that bathroom is not clean enough. The toilet gets plugged up. It doesn't flush. Someone throws a baby diaper in the bathroom. It can ruin it for everybody. That whole bathroom now is a different story. And then we get in trouble. But it's a good halakha to know. I don't know that everyone knows this halakha.
You get a sign up in there saying, don't throw such and such into the toilet.
Well, they did. They put up a sign. Mayim shayu tachat hamita. We learned this also back in the day. Water that is kept under the bed. According to our rabbis, you're not supposed to leave food or drinks under your bed. You'd have a hard time with that on a ship. You'd have a hard time with that on a ship. Everything's under the bed.
Exactly.
I was on the aircraft carrier. Basically, you get your mattress, and the mattress lifts up, and that's your life. It's underneath the mattress.
It's like this.
Yeah, it's like this much room. Imagine the size of a mattress, and like this.
How many people are stuck to like three deep?
Three people, and it's right across you. There's another three people.
More. So it's like 6 in like a confined space.
They give you a shelf, basically. You sleep on the shelf, and underneath you put your stuff. This is not a practical halakha for people who live in an aircraft carrier. Mayim shayu show tachat hamita. Water that was left under the bed. Ve'yashnu hamita. Someone slept on that bed. Nachon lachmir shlo yitol yadav b'mayim elu. It's best to not wash your hands with this water, and also not to drink them. V'shat atchak, but in a pressing situation, and that's literally a pressing situation. Kagon she'eno mayim acharim, like you don't have any other water to use. Yitol yadav b'mayim elu v'ech b'shem malchut Netilat Yadayim. You can wash your hands and make a blessing on that water, and that's the reality of life. This next halakha, Zev, you already brought it up, but it's the beginning of that topic. many details in time. Asa b'mayim melacha. You did some kind of, you use this water for something. O shara behem pitom. Oh, sounds funny. You soaked your bread in this water.
Making French toast.
Yeah, you used it for something. אפילו נתכוון לשרות בכלי זה ונפל לשונים פסולים. The next example is better. אם צינן יין במים פסולים. If you cool down the wine in the water, it's forbidden. I do it all the time. I heat up baby bottles inside of a cup of hot water. That hot water is clean water, but I've used that water now for something else. And what is my next step after I take the baby bottle out? I pour the water down the drain. Im hidiach behem kelim. If you wash dishes in water, absolutely. All of these cases make the water not valid. Vim hayu kelim mudachim uchadashim ksherim. If the dishes were already washed, or they were brand new dishes, and you were just trying to rinse them off, then it's okay. Why would you be washing washed dishes? My mother has this thing where before she puts dishes in her dishwasher, she washes them in the sink. Why she does that? Because she claims that the stuff doesn't come out. So I always tell you, if you're already washing the dishes, why should we do double the work? But let's say you're washing clean dishes in your dishwasher, whatever reason. That water technically doesn't become invalidated. But the water that I use to heat up the baby bottle, or the water that you use to wash regular dishes, you could say, listen, it was just I just washed cups with ice water in them. So that water now is not clean anymore for Nitilat today. And if the baker dips his glufskin, rolls, I don't really know how this works.
It says loaves.
Loaves?
Yeah.
Okay. He takes them out of the oven and he puts them in the water quickly for them to cool down. From what I understand, bread would get soggy like that. I'm wondering if this is some kind of harder surface of bread where you can do that. Imagine like bagels that you boil. You boil the bagels, like in New York they have such a thing. For whatever reason, the baker's putting his bread in the water. Is water that had a bagel inside of it dirty to you? Not necessarily. But it's not allowed to be used. Oh, never mind. Hold on, wait. או שחפן מהם בחופניו, ומים נשארים לא נעשה בהם מלאכה, ולפיכך כשרים לא נשלו מראיהם. Actually, he's right, that as long as the water didn't change colors, then it's allowed. Hold on, I skipped the line. This one. If you dip the bread in the water, psulim, the water is not kasher. That was correct. אבל אם טבע על ידיו במים ותח פני גבוסקין. But if you stick your hands in the water and you rub the surface of the loaves, או שחפן מהם בחופניו. What do they translate that?
If he
dipped his hands in the water, or
just a minute, or he took a handful of water for this purpose,
המים
and the water
הנשארים.
remains was not used for work, and therefore it is valid for use if the color doesn't change.
So for whatever reason, he's trying to put water on the surface of this bread. So there's one way to dip the bread in the water. That would make the water used. But if you just, spit some water out of the tub onto your bread and you smear it on, that water wasn't used. The water that was here was, therefore it's allowed. The Rama adds a more practical example. In Rashi's script. When I was in the tortilleria in Madeira, you have a bowl of water sometimes you put your hands in, some to cool your hands or some to just wash the dough off your hands and to keep going. That water is not considered used water according to the Rama.
It's weird.
It's weird, because I wouldn't drink that water.
That's pretty used.
I would think that's more used than the water that I put my wine bottle inside.
And also the hands are in there, which have a tendency to get.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we're obviously going to have to go through the notes here on the bottom to understand this halakha more correctly. To maybe make some sense as to what is considered work and what is not considered work. Because I don't want to go through all these examples. We'll be here till next year. The water that you store the fish in your bathtub, It's for real. Remember those stories that
Yeah,
Lower East
carp.
Side in New York, they would go
Carp.
buy a fish, a carp, and they would put him in the
Carp.
bathtub on Wednesday, and you couldn't shower until Friday until they made
Yeah.
the gefilte fish because there was a fish in the bathtub.
Yeah.
If the fish doesn't die in the water, then that water is considered clean for the glad to die.
That
It has
sounds pretty
waste.
fishy.
The fish has waste that goes into the
Clearly, Shulchan Aruch's definition of used water is different than what we're considering used water. Now, there could be things that we're more sensitive to today that they weren't so sensitive to before. I'll give you an example. My gross yacht. I was learning with my wife last night, and the Gemara says there's a big argument between the rabbis of Babylon and the rabbis of Israel in the times of the Second Temple. In the olden days, we used to sit on the floor around a big bowl, and we'd eat together with our hands.
right.
Some Chachamim used to use their hands, and some Chachamim used like a wooden plank to eat from. And there's a big argument: what was considered better, the hands or the wooden plank? And I know today this sounds super gross to us, but some of them say, of course use your hands. That adds flavor to the food. The other ones say, of course use wooden planks because you want the flavor of the wood in your food. And I'm thinking, I don't want your flavor of anything in my food. I want to eat my own bowl. But this is something that wasn't considered weird.
Couscous was in there in Morocco.
Of course. Of course. What do you, that's how you ate.
It sounds like film.
Not chelm. This is
Chelm?
things that to us are weird today.
Brisket?
People did them all the time.
There's Oaxaca?
Yeah,
Oaxaca,
too,
Oaxaca,
yeah.
they that's what they yeah.
And so it's not gross or not gross.
You have
Or
your
how,
food on banana leaves.
I saw a video from India eating food on banana leaves. Yeah, you take a banana, you take a banana. I don't know, why don't you put my food on a leaf? Now, what's the difference between a lettuce leaf? I don't know. Sushi and seaweed. But there are things you get picky depending on where you live and how you are. Things change.
They make tamales with the banana.
For example, if someone drinks from my cup, even if it's my kid, I can't drink it. I'm done. Like, over. My wife, she could finish all of it. Make a difference.
Yeah.
Now, it could be that she grew up the youngest of 13 kids, and she drinks
Yeah.
all kinds of things. I just can't. I look at his face, and it's got sand in my cup, and I forget it. No more water for me.
I remember, I mean.
It's different. Everything is different. So it could be that some of these halachot are subjective, while other ones are objective. And B'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow night we'll dissect them a little bit more. And for now, I'm going to wish everybody a good night, B'ezrat Hashem, and we'll continue tomorrow. So if you'd like.